Welcome to the Making Life Magical podcast. I'm your host, Lori Hammond. Today, we are so lucky to have a conversation with Dr. Marina Costina, best-selling author, award-winning transformational coach, hypnotist, and Reiki master and teacher. While Marina has an impressive resume and a rich education, she believes her true education happened just a couple years ago during the darkest time of her life when she nearly died of a skydiving accident that dangerously broke her into 52 pieces and left her temporarily without a face. Marina has experienced 2 long years of surgeries, hospitalizations, and physical and emotional pain as she put herself back together into a new, more powerful version of herself. Because Dr. Kostina experienced depression, PTSD, anxiety, panic attacks, and more, she is better equipped to guide others to the same healing that helped her move into a place of physical and mental health. Because her hypnotherapy background gave her tools to heal herself and her clients without drugs or substances. Marina shows us that we do not need to be defined by our trauma. She radiates magic, resilience, spiritual transformation, hope, and illumination. And after listening, your own spark will shimmer and glow with hope too. Enjoy this conversation. I just want to welcome from the bottom of my heart, Dr. Marina Costina. I am so grateful to be in your presence, Marina, because I read your book a few months ago and it's one of the most life-changing stories I have read. And I want to welcome you and let you start off wherever you would like to start. If you want to share your story of what has happened to you in the past couple of years, we can start there. And welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. And I am very glad that we met before my life-changing event because you are one of these people who could connect with me before and after. And that's very important for me. So in 2022, June 19, my life completely changed. I had a near-death skydiving accident where I was broken into 52 pieces, was unconscious for 3 days fighting for my life, and had a very long journey that still continues of recovery. So up to now, I had 13 reconstructive surgeries, and unfortunately, I learned that I'm going to have more because of the person that I am. Right now, I'm at 75%, I would say. And you know me, 75% is not going to work for me. So I'm going to fight for the 100% being back. Not back, but being empowered and loving myself and living the life to the fullest.
That's amazing. You are just such a tenacious human, and to know that 2 years of going through this, I just reading your book, I just felt for you so deeply. I just want to acknowledge you and thank you so much for being here. Will you share with our listeners in whatever depth you would like what your accident entailed, how it happened, and the aftermath? And I know this is all in your book, so share as much or little as you would like.
Of course, thank you so much. And thank you so much for really connecting to my book so well and being so generous as that you recorded it. I had a really difficult time in 2 years ago, like 20 months ago. There was the war between Russia and Ukraine started, and I'm Russian, and it was really, really hard on so many levels to deal with that and being here and just I'm not going to get into politics. It's just any human definitely would be affected, but especially if it is so closely connected to you and to people that you're integrated with. It was just a shock. And I think that I was connecting with people in Russia, in Ukraine, because we're all mixed, and it was for several months, I was in a very dark, kind of depressed place. And I felt death. Like, I felt, I'm a very connected, I'm a very spiritual person. And I work with energies besides hypnosis. Um, and I just felt like I was gonna die. So I even like wrote a will. I already talked to my girlfriend and I said, if something happens to me, please adopt my dog. Like conversations I never have, it was really, really weird, like, and everywhere I go, I would see death. Like, somebody gave me a present and it would be a skull or, butterflies or like, it just a random weird stuff. And that day, it's 19th of June, it was Father's Day. He passed, and, away like many years ago. And I was just thinking, and I was just like, if I could only, have a phone call with him, right? Because that is the day several years ago, we talked because it was a Father's Day and he passed away 2 days after, right? So it was also around his death anniversary. And, I was teaching in the morning, I was teaching Zumba, and, ready to go with my day. I was planning to travel to Russia because I had workshops and retreats aligned. It was just professionally, I was doing so good. I was kicking butt. Everything was great, right? Like everything was great, but my undertone was like, I'm gonna die. And suddenly my friend calls me and tells me, let's go skydiving. And I had a thought, like, I was like, oh, this is my chance to say hi to my daddy, in the sky. And I even joked. I have a text I wrote to my girlfriend. I said, hey, I'm going to go say hi to my dad in the sky for a little bit, and then I'm going to meet you or whatever, something like that. And everything was slowing me down. I was late. I called my friend. I said, I'm not going to come. I'm running late. He's like, it's okay. I'm going to wait for you. Then I'm like, you know what? Another, afterthought. I cannot pay for it because I'm going to Russia. I need to be good with my money. And it's like 200 something dollars, right? I'm going to cover you. And he's not like my boyfriend or anything. He's my friend, right? And not the the closest friend. It's just random. And he's like, no, I'm going to cover it. I'm like, whoa, $200. Okay. Nothing was smooth. And I always listened to the signs, except for that day. And then when everybody got their instructor, I got an instructor, like a little tiny, I'm tiny. And there was a tinier than me girl, like young girl. And I looked at her and I'm like, I want to have like a big dude that dress, you know? And my friend made a comment. He's like, oh, come on, girls power. And that, how we are, Lori, girls power, yeah, girls power, like it really hit into my ego, I think. And I was all about girls power, but I really didn't want to jump with her. I didn't have a good energy with her. Um, I just didn't trust her. And then everybody jumped. We were the last ones. And I remember only, this is my second jump. I jumped 10 years ago before that. And I remember coming out of the plane. I have no fear of heights. I really love adrenaline. And I looked up in the sky, and that's it. Like the sun hit my face, and I don't remember. And I remember waking up there, which, being in that state between life and death. That is my next horror story. But this is what happened. And looking back at the pictures, I have a final picture standing in front of the plane, and I didn't see it until after the accident. And on that plane, there is a skull.
What? Like
Yes,
on the side of the plane?
yes,
What?
yes.
Oh my gosh, I have goosebumps.
I know it is the most bizarre. Like that's why I always tell myself, Marina, you're gonna be okay because there is something beyond this world that was a part of it, and it's still a part of it. You know what I mean? I like synchronicities and things that have happened, like magical things. the fact that I'm such an intuitive person, like, if I feel bad, like if I'm in a bad mood, I always say I'm going to stay home, so I'm not going to get a parking ticket or whatever, I'm going to avoid this energy. And here's like universe yelled, screamed at me, and I was blind, like as if, I was under some sort of spell.
I just I just want to acknowledge you and tell you I see you. I love you. I'm so grateful for you being here with us and sharing your journey. Will you talk to us a little bit about the aftermath and about what that process has been like to getting you from where you were to where you are now and where you're heading next?
Absolutely. So I broke into 52 pieces, 10 very major on my body. I broke vertebrae, two, um, rib, hip. So there was a danger that, like people were like, we don't know how you have your sanity. Well, as as much as you can tell sanity, but like everything that the brain didn't get affected. That my two vertebrae, I was wearing a neck brace forever, Lori, forever. And that's not a pleasant thing. And the rib broken was terrible. It's such a horrible pain. You cannot breathe. And they told me that I would walk with like a walker, which for me, that, I'm so active. I taught yoga and Zumba. That was not even a question. There was a week and a half where I was laying and I could not move at all. And it's the scariest thing ever, not be able to move. And I was making them put me vertically because I felt like, I can't lay like as if I'm in a coffin. And I would force all of my doctors to make me seated for 8 hours a day. And then slowly I was moving my feet, and then I started walking, and there's not much space to walk, but I was determined to walk at least 1 hour every single day. And after the hospital, I had people drive me, and I would have like a set, okay, I need to make 3 circles here at the stadium. And first it would take forever, and then it would be a little bit faster. And then, in 3 months after the surgery, I was teaching yoga and Zumba again.
Amazing. And I've seen video of you dancing and I would be surprised to hear that you walk with a limp. Do you walk with a
No,
limp?
no, I'm my body is absolutely cured. Like, yeah, and I honestly, like, to all of the audience, the best investment. I was in a great shape before the accident. Great shape, like the best shape of my life, I would say, because I had so many activities. I was dancing, I had pole dancing, I had hip hop, Zumba, yoga, kung fu, like worked out, I ate well, and all of that, um, I think saved me from dying, but also helped me in my recovery, because if I were in a different, physical condition, I don't think that I would be able to move and get back. Like, all of my doctors are like, what? You had 13 huge surgeries in a year and a half? That's like nobody does it. I bounced back. So to our audience, invest in your body, in your energy.
And do you care if I ask how old you are? That my brain is curious right there. And I think the audiences might be as well. And if you want me to cut it out, I
No,
can.
that's fine. I was 49 at the time of jump, so I just turned 50.
Okay. Oh, we're the same
Yeah,
age.
yeah. And then I broke 42 bones on my face, which on top of physical thing, I need to deal with psychologically because, I was always a pretty attractive lady, and suddenly I don't have a nose. I don't have features. It's not like, oh, I don't look good. I am a monster. You know what I mean? Like, I cannot look at myself in the mirror. For 10 months, I didn't have a nose. Imagine that, like looking at yourself, like, and I'm a very public person and very, I don't know, like this is my style, I like to dress up and I like to be on the stage and I like the lights and camera and flirtation with everybody. This is the way I interact with the world. And it's a very interesting experience. Already I had 4 teams in 2 countries working on me. Eventually, I think it's going to be 4 countries. Because now I'm finding specialists in exactly what I need for myself because I'm determined. I'm at the state where I can walk on the street and nobody would know what happened to me, but I'm not at the state where I like 100% what I see. And it's not about perfection. It's not about me trying to be Monica Bellucci. You know what I mean? It's just me feeling like I am this goddess that I used to feel.
As I read your book and as I speak to you now, there's such a tenacity underneath your forward momentum for you to have been through what you have been through and continue to. I can't even imagine what kind of research you're doing to find the right specialists and the right people to help. It's something that I think will inspire all of us with whatever we're going through. I would be shocked if anyone listening has been through something as intense as what you've been through. And for you to just continue to move forward and to have that tenacity to look for the right answer is absolutely beautiful.
I am pretty stubborn. That is always been some quality that I was criticized for. So, and unfortunately, we live in the society where, like right now, all of the doctors want me to pop the pills. So I will shut up and just not, voice my concerns or get an appointment earlier, and keep calling them for the appointments. And, I got to fight the medical system too, right? That can take years and years and years. I am not a convenient client, I will tell you. I am annoying everybody. I'm very grateful, but I will fight for me. And I think that uh, I think that all of us, like your audience that is listening, I think that sometimes the very features that you were always criticized all your life, like if you ask me what is my number one quality that was always criticized for, like even in a personal romantic relationship, is that I'm stubborn. But because I'm stubborn is where I am right now. Like stubbornness is one thing that carried me. I would be broken. I would cry. I had dark moments. I wanted to I already know how to kill myself easily. Like I know it's a horrible thing to say, but it is true. I'm completely transparent and I'm not a depressed person in general. I'm a very light and joking and positive, but I didn't want to live. Like I even still have moments where I have darkness, like that. It's because I'm so stubborn that I would literally pull myself out of the bed and tell myself, no, I just need one person, one doctor, one somebody in the entire world.
Yes. And I have a feeling someone who's listening needs to hear what you're saying because I think that we have, especially here in the US, there's so many people who just go with whatever the medical community tells them and doesn't necessarily advocate for themselves. And I just want to say, Marina, as you were speaking, I went on to wordhippo.com and put in the word stubborn, and some of the words that come up are indomitable, which is like nothing knocks, like when you get knocked down you get right back up. At least that's what it means in my mind. Or unshakable, tough, uncompromising, relentless. There's all these strong-willed, strong-minded. So I just want to invite you to even think about and I'm sure you're aware of all the beautiful aspects of that word stubborn. It's such a beautiful gift. And I'm curious, do you have an idea about why you have that characteristic, why you are so stubborn, in your words?
Yeah. Well, I never thought that stubborn was bad. I always felt stubborn was a good quality of mine because it pulled me through many things in life before, because this is a horrible event, but I had other difficult events in my life, right? So I think that it's a combination. I come from a Russian culture, growing up with very strong, independent, single Russian women, right? That had to, work and survive and all of that. And my childhood was in the 90s, early 90s, 80s is when Soviet Union was breaking apart, and it was a very tough time. I remember going to the store as a girl to pick up basic food like milk and eggs and bread, and you go to one store, it's empty. Another store, it's empty. Like we survived hunger. It was really, and you cannot be just kind of like, oh, that's it. My life is over. You gotta be creative. Like, your brain is constantly thinking, okay, what can I do? Who do I know that has bread so I can give them milk that I have and we can exchange? And, like you come up with different things. And I think that that is how, like, my cultural upbringing and just the examples of the strong, independent women in my life. I think that's what I got it, because that's why, sometimes I joke when my mom would say, "You're too stubborn." I'm like, well, I'm learning from you, you know, because, she had to be stubborn. We all had to survive. So I think that's where it's from. And plus, honestly, I have this very strong life force. I feel it now that I work with energies. I understand it. It got me in trouble. I was always the loudest one in school and always got in trouble, and I was always noticeable, even though I'm a tiny little, girl was always, and everybody would do something and they always caught me, because of my big energy. When I came here, 1993, that it was one of the worst years in Russia when there nothing in the store. I started working in food service in a dormitory, and I was forced at the end of the day to throw away buckets of meat, of salads, of mayo, of all of these things. And I remember the first day I said, I cannot. I literally cannot. I broke down. I was crying. And I asked them to please not make that a part of my job. Because, while I was coming home, my mom was invited as a professor at the university, and we lived very poorly. She had a very small salary, $800, and I needed to pay for my education. And we lived in one room, shared bathroom and everything with a bunch of people. And I remember we were eating pizza every day because a guy who lived in the house, he worked in pizza and he always brought pizza for free. That was our like highlight of our day. And here I am working around food. And at the end of the day, instead of like giving food away or something, I just thought it was such a horrible system.
Marina, as you're thinking about your journey of the last 22 months, and you think about someone who is listening and is perhaps going through a struggle in their life right now, what would you say to that person about how to just some tools for moving forward and for stepping into their okayness?
Absolutely. There are so many things I can say, but I believe one of the biggest things in any situation, in accidents and difficult traumatic events in our life, and just the feeling of being stuck in a certain situation, is space. It feels like everything around you is just like the walls are so small and they're so big and you're so small and you're surrounded by this problem, right? And there's no exit. And today I actually posted my video on Instagram where I say, you're stuck because you don't have space, you don't have a perspective. Because when you drive a car, if you look right in front of the car, right, you're gonna crash. But if you drive a car, you always look very far, where are you gonna go, right? And you create that space. And I think that creating space from both, what is in front of you, where you're going to go. Like, I have on every mirror in my house, I have the word belief. Every time, even when I saw myself with no nose, I would look, I would cry all the time. And that word belief, no, believe that even what you see right in front of you, what I'm going to repeat that for everybody. Whatever you see in front of you is an illusion. It is not, it is not the end result. It is not the truth, right? It's an illusion because that's how I associated I wanted to kill myself when I looked at that reflection. And if I didn't have space that I created with the word belief, that put me beyond that mirror reflection. Maybe this experience in physical world is just temporary, right? And maybe I am learning like thousands of lessons in one lifetime that most people need, repetition over and over and over. And I'm just ascending faster. And do you know what I mean? Like, who really knows, right? But I think creating space, physical, psychological for yourself, that is what's going to give you perspective. And then magic is going to happen. Can I share a couple of magical things that happen?
Please, yes, I would love it.
So, talking about space, right? You got to create space. So, I had 4 surgeries done in Wisconsin where I fell down, right? But they could not fix my jaw, which broke into 7 parts. 7. And they said, I need the whole team. It's not like one doctor that can fix it. There needs to be a team. And I'm looking and looking and looking and looking, and there's nobody. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then I decided I'm going to call my orthodontist that, I fixed my teeth 9 years ago and of course, he cannot do it, but he's kind of in a teeth profession. So he's going to, probably know what to do with the jaw. I call him and he tells me, Marina, you don't even understand. Whatever we did with your teeth, that is my sidekick. My main thing is working at the University of Chicago Craniofacial Center, where we deal with gun wounds, car accidents, things like this, where we have the whole team of professionals that can fix things exactly that you deal with. And can I give you a magical spin?
Yes.
I have your CT scans from 9 years ago. So we can match. We can have surgery. I had a huge surgery. My head was 5 times bigger than normal. Where we're going to move your bones exactly where they were 9 years ago.
Whoa.
Do
Oh
you
my
understand?
goodness.
Where doctors were like, can we have a picture of her because it's a mess, there's no face, can we have a picture of her so we can somehow match? Here the guy has a city, like, blueprint on how to put me together.
I have goosebumps. That's amazing.
So I look 9 years younger now, because you know how our, even skeletal structure changes, and I have more cheekbones and all of that because they moved it all to the position of 9 years, well, now 10 years ago. You know what
Wow.
I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's just phenomenal. What a beautiful story.
How does this work? And I have this constantly, this synchronicities, because again, I create space and I am very stubborn, and I do my research beyond things that I was told. Like, if I listened to the doctors, I would not be walking. I would be in this horror journey 10 years because, surgery is every surgery. You need to wait 6 months to a year. And, can you imagine? I already had 13. Right? How many years would that be? I would be still without a nose, right? Like I would be on drugs, by the way. I contacted many people who had accidents, and I have a really dear girl that we're now friends. She had a car accident and had similar situation with her face 7 years ago. She's gorgeous. They put her together great. She's has a boyfriend. She's happy. She doesn't even think about her accident anymore that much, but she cannot get off antidepressants still. You understand? And everywhere I went, Lori, and up till last week, I had a social worker calling me and telling me that I need to be on antidepressants. And I'm like, no, I am not. I am going raw. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke anything. I don't take any drugs because I am not going to be a zombie because antidepressants are not going to, I mean, there are cases where you need to take them, but not my case. I would be a convenient, quiet.
Yeah, no longer stubborn. I believe that someone who is listening right now desperately needs to hear what you're sharing. And I'm just so grateful for you sharing this with us and for you setting an example of what a person can do when they've been through medical stuff. And me just listening, as you know, I had brain surgery, my second brain surgery a little over a year ago. And as I read through your book, there were so many things that impacted me and helped me with my forward momentum and with the negative things that the doctors have said to me that I shouldn't be able to do. And so I'm so grateful to you. And I'm wondering, Marina, would and we can cut this out if the answer is no, but how would you feel about walking us through a little, like guiding us through a way to create space? Because I hear you saying that, but when I imagine actually doing it, I'm not sure how. And I think other people that are listening might feel the same.
Absolutely. So, honestly, um, everybody will come up with their own way. I'm just going to explain the logic behind it, what I use, right? Sometimes I am, and there were times that I was actually claustrophobic in my own body because I had my jaw wired, the neck brace, I also broke, I even forgot that I broke the arm because that was nothing compared to everything else, right? So I had a cast, and it was the feeling that I couldn't even escape my own body. So sometimes I feel we're so in our body stuck. You don't need to be broken into parts. It's just, remember the feeling when you feel, oh my God, somebody breaks up with you, right? Everything is small, right? When you lose somebody that you love, right? So sometimes just even getting up and feeling the space around you. Like, I moved furniture. I remember I was moving furniture. I was creating that physical space. I opened all of the windows. Sometimes I needed to open the door, just create that physical space and understand that I'm not trapped, because that is the worst thing. We're trapped. And you know how subconscious mind works. When you're trapped, you're just like repeating the same belief that doesn't serve you, right? And it's on the loop. So physical space is very important. And I play a lot with physical space. I even have that exercise in my book where I would get up, stand in front of the window, and have like several steps in front of the window. And I would imagine that on that window, I have my final result. Maybe not right away when I had no nose. I didn't imagine Marina, gorgeous Marina yet, because it's not feasible yet to imagine at that situation. But I would imagine a successful neck surgery, for example, right? And I would walk towards that mirror, that window, and I would feel where in my body I had restriction. And when I had a restriction, I would stop and feel, what are those restrictions? What do I think right now? What are those obstacles? And I would write them down. And that is how I actually came up with the idea of traveling to another country for surgeries. I had two major surgeries in Russia, and they happened recently, and they were like six surgeries almost in two. you know? So I saved myself so much time, right? So you write down because your subconscious mind is going to guide you, is going to tell you. And then you ask, how can I, you know, what can I do for that? And just listen, and just listen to that guidance. And then eventually, when you come to that window, you feel, and you got to clear the space because, those are the obstacles. Everything needs to be clear. You create that feeling of the end result. And I would then every day would come to that window and stand in that feeling that I created to kind of like give me the energy of that end result, you know? And so I feel like that is a good exercise. I mean, there are many, you can just understand the logic behind it and create your own version, but seeing beyond what is, understanding that this is an illusion of the moment.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That is so beautiful. I'm so grateful to you for walking us through that. And I know we're getting to the end of our time together. So I just want to ask you, is there anything else that you want to convey to the listener or anything else you want to share about your story before we say goodbye?
Well, I honestly think that, and this is even my motto now and my slogan for my company, that, moving from tragic to magic. I honestly encourage, and I have a professional degree, like traditional PhD. So it's not like I'm only in esoterics, but I really, really invite each of you to start connecting with the magic. And magic is not fairy tale that doesn't happen. It is the way this world operates. When we live in 3D matrix, we are in that stuck feeling that, the doctors tell you the timeline, the doctors tell you the prognosis, the society tells you how it's going to be, and you're stuck. And that's the lack of space we talked about. But when you start understanding that this is just only one part of the world and the reality is actually magical, you can change time, you can change circumstances just by creating space and rising above that. Then you invite magic into your life, and then you become an incredible magician and a creator. And your subconscious mind and your energy and your body are the tools.
Oh, I love that so much. And I could even hear like there was even a change in your voice as you were speaking those things, and it goes right into my heart. I hope I didn't interrupt you. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about that?
No, no, I feel like when we're in conscious mind, that's the 3D. That's the limitation. That's the suffocation. That's the lack of options. But when you are in your body, in your subconscious mind, and in your energy, then you can really create miracles.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Marina, how can people find you and learn more about you and connect with you moving forward? What's the best way where would you like to direct people?
I just think maybe my website that has everything, it's ravenousLifeCenter.com. Or you can just Google me. I am so transparent everywhere. You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram. You can have my phone number and text me. I don't pick up the phone, but I text right back. And, my phone number is 319-594-5530. Yes, I don't have these crazy boundaries. You can text me, if you're gonna do something crazy, I'll block you. But, you know,
That's so amazing that you're my second guest. I'm just getting this podcast ramped up and you're my second guest and you're the second. She also gave her phone number and I thought who knows what's going to come of that. That's so beautiful.
yeah, yeah, I'm here. I'm real. I'm magical, but I'm real. And so are you.
Oh, I love that. And I just have to tell you real quick, I haven't put the finishing touches on the podcast and I knew that if I didn't start scheduling people, I wouldn't do it. So I've scheduled And the first guest really, something she said really confirmed that I was going to call my podcast Making Life Magical. And just now, as you were talking about magic, it's like you're speaking directly to me and confirming that that's the right path. Thank you so much, Marina. I am so grateful to you. Thank you for delivering this life-changing message and giving me what I needed today. And I know the people who are listening what they need as well.
Thank you so much, Lori, for being in my life and being that magical helper, in my little fairy tale here. So thank you.
Thank you for listening, my friend. You can find lots of ways to connect with Dr. Marina Costina in the notes where you're watching this podcast. I have a gift for you too. If you've been struggling to make a tough decision, or if you know you want to get to a certain goal, but you have no idea where to start to get there, you can download my free Answer Room hypnosis audio by going to lorianswers.com. That's LORI answers.com. You'll be relieved to know that you will not only get the answer you seek, but you'll become infused with everything you need to follow through with the clear path in front of you. It works even if you're skeptical about hypnosis or if you're super analytical. Again, go to lorianswers.com. That's LORI answers.com to get free instant access to this life-changing hypnosis protocol. One more time, lorianswers.com.